Something massive is happening behind the scenes in the world of finance, and very few people are paying attention. SWIFT, the backbone of international payments, a network used by over 11,000 banks in more than 200 countries, is now quietly testing blockchain technology. And yes, that includes XRP. If this experiment succeeds, it could completely rewrite the future of money transfers, shake up global banking as we know it, and elevate XRP into a position of incredible demand. In this video, I'll break down exactly what's happening. We'll talk about why SWIFT is experimenting with blockchain, how Ripple and XRP are positioned to potentially become the default bridge currency for banks, and why this is a story with enormous implications for the future of crypto adoption and global finance. So buckle up, because the information we're about to uncover may shock you, and it's unfolding right now. Let's begin with the basics. What exactly is SWIFT? SWIFT stands for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Sounds complicated, but in reality, it's simple. SWIFT is the secure messaging network that allows banks to communicate and coordinate money transfers across borders. When you send money internationally, whether it's $500 or $50 million, chances are that payment is routed through the SWIFT system. Over 11,000 banks and institutions rely on it. That makes SWIFT one of the most important infrastructures in the world's financial system. But here's the problem. SWIFT is old. Really old. It was created in the 1970s, in a world before smartphones, before instant communication, and long before cryptocurrencies even existed. Because of that, payments made with SWIFT are often painfully slow. They can take anywhere from 2 to 5 business days to settle. They're expensive too, with banks charging high fees and middlemen taking their cut. In today's fast-moving digital economy, this is simply unacceptable. We live in a world where people expect instant payments, not multi-day delays. We live in a world where businesses need to move money across borders quickly and cheaply, not spend days waiting for funds to clear. And this is exactly why SWIFT is under pressure to innovate. And that brings us to the big news. SWIFT is now testing blockchain technology. Recently, SWIFT announced it has been running pilot programs designed to connect different blockchains together. The goal? To test interoperability. In other words, how can multiple blockchains communicate with each other so money and assets can move seamlessly, instantly, and securely? And here's the bombshell. One of the leading technologies they're testing is Ripple, the company behind XRP. Now, Ripple is no stranger to solving global payment issues. Through its on-demand liquidity solution, known as ODL, Ripple has already been moving billions of dollars across borders, helping banks and financial institutions settle transactions in just seconds instead of days. This is a direct challenge to SWIFT. For decades, SWIFT has dominated the global payment landscape, but Ripple is showing the world a better way. By testing blockchain technology, SWIFT is essentially admitting that its current system isn't good enough anymore. And they're exploring whether XRP could fit directly into the backbone of international payments. Think about that for a moment. Ripple was built as a competitor to SWIFT. Unlike SWIFT, which only moves messages, Ripple moves actual value, instantly. Here's the difference. With SWIFT, when you send money, what really happens is your bank sends a message to another bank through the SWIFT network. The banks then reconcile accounts, use intermediaries, and eventually the money arrives. It's a process full of friction. But with Ripple and XRP, the transaction settles in just 3 to 5 seconds. Fees are tiny, often just fractions of a cent. No waiting for intermediaries, no delays, no high costs. It's like comparing a landline phone from the 1970s with the latest iPhone. SWIFT is outdated, slow, and inefficient. Ripple, on the other hand, is sleek, fast, and designed for the digital age. This isn't just evolution, it's a revolution. A battle between the old guard and the new system. And here's where things get even more interesting. Banks are quietly accumulating XRP. Now, this isn't something they announce on the evening news, but behind the scenes, it's happening. Why? Because they know they need liquidity. In international finance, liquidity is everything. You need a bridge asset that can connect different fiat currencies instantly. And that's exactly what XRP was built for. If a bank in Japan wants to send money to a bank in Brazil, instead of going through multiple intermediaries and waiting days, they can simply convert yen to XRP, send XRP across the Ripple network, and instantly convert it into Brazilian reals on the other side. By holding XRP, banks can settle large transactions faster, cheaper, and more efficiently. But here's the catch. Banks don't want the public to know this. Not yet. Why? Because if retail investors fully understood the implications, demand for XRP could skyrocket. That would drive up prices, making it more expensive for institutions to accumulate the liquidity they need. So instead, they buy quietly, behind the scenes, slowly building their positions before the world catches on. This is the same playbook we've seen countless times throughout financial history. Institutions accumulate in silence. They let the retail crowd focus on distractions. And only once they're ready, once their bags are full, do they step into the spotlight. But payments are only part of the story. Ripple is also looking beyond simple transactions into something far bigger, tokenization. What is tokenization? It's the process of representing real-world assets. Things like real estate, commodities, stocks, or even central bank digital currencies as digital tokens on a blockchain. Why does this matter? Because in the future, trillions of dollars worth of assets are expected to be tokenized. Imagine being able to trade real estate instantly or transfer ownership of commodities without the slow, outdated processes of today. If SWIFT integrates blockchain into its system, tokenized assets could move across borders in real time, seamlessly. And guess which digital asset is perfectly designed to bridge all of these tokenized assets? That's right, XRP. This means XRP is not just about payments anymore. It's about being the neutral bridge for a future financial system where everything, money, real estate, stocks, bonds, commodities, all exist in tokenized form. We're not just talking about billions, we're talking about trillions. And experts are starting to take notice. Teucrium's CEO, for example, recently suggested that XRP is better positioned than SWIFT for international transfers. Analysts across the financial world are pointing out that Ripple has solved the very problems that have plagued SWIFT for decades. And here's the key difference. XRP has real utility. This isn't speculation. This isn't hype. This isn't a meme coin that lives and dies on Twitter trends. This is actual infrastructure that banks are beginning to rely on. The writing is on the wall. Even the experts can see it. XRP isn't just another altcoin. It's a core piece of the future financial system. So, what does all this mean for investors? If SWIFT fully adopts XRP, it's game over for the competition. XRP would instantly become the standard for international payments, used by thousands of banks across the globe. Think about the demand that would create. Right now, much of XRP's price is driven by speculation. But with true utility, with real-world use cases on a global scale, demand would surge to levels we've never seen before. And remember, institutional demand is very different from retail demand. Institutions don't buy a few hundred XRP here and there. They buy in bulk. They buy millions at a time. That's why the quiet accumulation happening today is so significant. The smart money is preparing for a future where XRP is essential. A future where XRP isn't just part of the system, it is the system. And when that demand fully arrives, the supply is limited. There will be a supply shock. Prices will not just rise slowly, they could explode. History teaches us something very important. The biggest financial revolutions don't happen loudly. They don't announce themselves with fireworks. They happen quietly, behind the scenes. And then, all at once, everything changes. XRP could be on the brink of exactly that moment. So, what's the big picture here? SWIFT, the very backbone of international payments, is now testing blockchain. And XRP may be the missing puzzle piece they've been searching for. This isn't just about crypto speculation. This is about the very future of money. The very future of how value moves across the world. And the question is simple. Will SWIFT adopt XRP into its system? Or will Ripple and XRP grow so powerful that they replace SWIFT entirely? Only time will tell. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think SWIFT will integrate XRP, or will Ripple completely take over global payments on its own? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found value in this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss future updates. The financial system is changing faster than ever, and if you want to stay ahead of the curve, this is the place to be. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.